Hello, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Ancestral and Healing. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, the sun. I know a lot of people fear the sun and they slather on the sunscreen, but I'm here to drop some facts and tell you that you do not have to be afraid of the sun. So Dr. Lee Erin Connolly is one of my favorite cancer doctors in the world. I'm going to be posting her Instagram account below in the description, but I spent a lot of time, oh, there's a little fly flying around here. I spent a little time on her Instagram doing some of my research, and I wanted to share some of these amazing facts with you guys. So she's done her research and she says that normal sun exposure is encouraged. Laying out in the sun in the hottest part of the day, probably not. You're gonna burn, and that's where things get dangerous. But normal, healthy sun exposure is actually encouraged. Normal sun exposure is actually linked to less cancers like melanoma. Actually, avoiding the sun is carcinogenic. Here are some of the benefits of normal sun exposure. 75% reduction in colon cancer, 50% reduction in breast cancer, 50% reduction in prostate cancer, 50% reduction in Alzheimer's, and a 60% reduction in psoriasis. Normal sun exposure has also been linked to a reduction in depression. The regulation of our circadian rhythm, you guys have probably heard me talk about this before, is key to good health. Doesn't matter if you eat the healthiest diet, if you're tucked away in your house avoiding the sun, you're missing some very, very important elements. So why then do people think that exposure to the sun causes cancer? So the most common form of cancer is related to sunburns, not regular normal sun exposure. This type of cancer is easily treatable and does not have an impact on life expectancy. Or should I say, it rarely has an impact on life expectancy. Oh, what about melanoma? So according to studies, indoor workers actually have an increased chance of getting melanoma than workers who work outdoors. This suggests that ultraviolet radiation, the sun, is in some way protective against melanoma cancer. It's actually pretty wild. Melanoma develops in parts of the skin that are not often exposed to the sun, like on your butt cheeks, behind your knees, on your back. So if it was from the sun, you would find melanoma on places on your body that are exposed to the sun a lot, but that's not often the case. Oh, my favorite part, I love exposing the truths. Why do we slather on the sunscreen then? Well, maybe because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. There are no studies that prove that the use of sunscreen is protective against melanoma. I'm going to say that again. There are no studies that prove that sunscreen is protective against melanoma. Studies show that sunscreen has been linked to causing leaky gut, hormonal dysfunction, and neurological dysfunction. The ingredients in sunscreen are massive endocrine disruptors. Sunscreen is estrogenic, a potent anti-testosterone for you men out there, and has been shown to possibly interfere with the thyroid. There was a study done, and of the 1,400 and more sunscreens tested, only 5% met the safety standards, and over 40% were considered as skin cancer contributors. Let's go through some of the ingredients in sunscreen. So we have zinc titanium oxide, little medical particles that get into our brains, bodies, and liver and cause damage to our brain and fetus. Most sunscreens also contain synthetic estrogens. They are absorbed by our skin and can cause breast cancer, ovarian and uterine cancer, infertility in men and women, as well as abnormal and premature puberty in children. And then another ingredient is oxybenzone. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So this is a chemical that helps other chemicals better penetrate the skin. There was a study done, and this chemical has been found in 97% of the population. It is an endocrine disruptor. It damages cells, damages our skin, lowers sperm count. And this chemical is found in the blood, in our blood, because of our water. It's in our water. So even people that don't use sunscreen, they quite possibly may still have this chemical running through their bloodstream. That's very, very sad in my opinion. It's almost like we don't really have much control over what is inside our bodies. So the things that we can control, let's focus on that. I'm not going to willingly put this chemical on my skin. Unfortunately, this specific chemical cannot be removed from water. It's just impossible. They can't do it, apparently. In Hawaii, they actually banned all sunscreen containing this chemical. This chemical kills coral reefs in just 96 hours of coming into contact with it. It practically just turns white. Jeez. If you choose to wear sunscreen and you still feel like you need it, go for the less toxic options. Pick the ones that are free of parabens, free of synthetic fragrances. There are some mineral-based sunscreens that are plant-based, non-nanoparticles, zinc, and coral reef safe. So I would say those are your better options. But you know, this video is basically just to kind of shine some light that everything that we've been told about the sun and this need to fear the sun, it doesn't come from a good place, and there are doctors that are speaking out about this. I really, really encourage you to check out Dr. Connolly's Instagram account. She is fascinating. I love being in the sun. I have tanned irresponsibly throughout my life. I just didn't know better, but now that I know better, I tan responsibly, and I'm so happy that I don't have to fear the sun. She actually mentions on her Instagram that many of her new patients are actually deficient in vitamin D. Can you guys believe that? That is wild. So, also another tip that I have, if you are a little bit hesitant of being out in the sun, you're not sure for how long, download the D Minder. So DMINDER app. It will you'll plug in your information, how much cloud exposure, how much sun exposure there is at that time, where you are in the world, and the app will literally tell you when you've had too much sun. It'll be like, okay, now you're gonna burn, get out of the sun. So that's a super useful tool. Make peace with nature, guys. It's not out to hurt us. I promise you that. Practice that good, safe sun exposure. Morning time is really good. I'd say between the hours of 6 to 9, 6 to 8, you're good, you're set. You probably could benefit from it. I just actually ran into my good friend Anna, and I realized she makes natural skincare products. So we've got some sunscreen over here with coffee infused coconut oil, avocado oil. So avocado oil actually protects against the sun, right?
Yeah, so avocado oil is actually, it has an SPF of between 12 and 14. So it's the oil that has the highest SPF protection. So coconut oil has between a 4 or 6, and an avocado oil has between 12 and 14.
Yeah, so there's better options. This one's for like surfers and everyone, really.
Yeah, so this is like a sports sunscreen. So this one has no liquid-based ingredients. Coconut butter. Coconut butter also is the best one to use that has SPF.
There you go. So there are options. Just talk to your friends. Her company's called Sexy Ass. So if you guys want to check it out, I'll put the link below.
Keep your ass sexy.
Do it for sure. You gotta take care of yourself.
Natural ingredients.
Natural ingredients only.